Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Commanding Officer of Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 2, Lieutenant Colonel Andrew A. Rundle, welcome to the Squadron's deactivation ceremony. Today's review is being executed by the officers and Marines of Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 2. The commander of troops for today's ceremony is Lieutenant Colonel Julian Flores. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocation by Command Chaplain, Lieutenant Commander Thomas Bingle, United States Navy.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, strong to save, today we celebrate the 45-year history of Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 2, rooted in a much deeper 60-year tradition with customs in which they have been known as the Panthers, the Playboys, the Death Jesters, and for all who gather here from the Q community to mark the close of an era of Marine Corps aviation platform EA-6B Prowler. We recognize the leadership of VMAQ-2 and their fellow Q squadrons and families as well. Throughout their history, this squadron has been a part of a history that has flown various platforms, from the 85 Sky Raider, the EF-10 Sky Knight, the A6A Intruder, and the EA-6B Prowler. VMAQ-2 has answered the call and served in various times of our history that dates back to the Cuban Missile Crisis, Vietnam, to the Cold War era, and also through the first Gulf War and Falklands to today's global war on terror. Today, VMAQ-2's mission is complete, and a new chapter of Marine Corps aviation electronic warfare will begin. Today we honor a squadron's past and those who have traveled to reflect on the Q community and what it has meant for them. Stories will be shared, friendships rekindled, and for those who are no longer with us, let us pause for a moment of silence to honor those fallen Marines who no longer gather among our ranks. As this squadron suns down, may its legacy live on in the memory of those who have served. And for those whose service continues with new platforms, grant them happy homecomings as they carry out the work of our nation around the globe. And the next chapter of this squadron's history will begin to be written. Keep us ever faithful, Semper Fidelis, in the name of all that is holy. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Present-day reviews in the Marine Corps have their basis in both history and tradition. The mass formation of troops in one long line at close interval made possible the massing of firepower from muzzle-loaded muskets of yesterday. In those early days, the line of battle was just that, a line of 2 or 3 ranks, and looked much like the parade formation you will see today. The adjutant forms the line for battle. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for honors to Lieutenant General Retired William D. Beidler and remain standing for honors to Major General Retired Royal N. Moore. Taking his position in the reviewing area is Lieutenant General Retired William D. Beidler. Taking his position in the reviewing area is Major General Retired Royal N. Moore. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Taking his position in the reviewing area is the commanding officer of Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 2, Lieutenant Colonel Andrew A. Rundle. Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 2 was activated 15 September 1952 at Cherry Point, North Carolina as Marine Composite Squadron 2 and assigned to 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing. Redesignated 1 December 1955 as Marine Composite Reconnaissance Squadron 2. Participated in the Cuban Missile Crisis, October to November 1962. Participated in the intervention in Dominican Republic, April to June 1965. Assigned during October 1966 to Marine Aircraft Group 14. Redesignated 1 July 1975 as Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 2. Participated in Operation El Dorado Canyon, Libya, March to April 1986. Participated in Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm, Southwest Asia, August 1990 to March 1991. Participated in Operations Decisive Endeavor and Deliberate Guard, Bosnia, March to September 1996 and August 1997 to February 1998. Participated in Operations Noble Anvil, Allied Force, and Joint Guardian, Kosovo, January to July 1999. Participated in Operation Southern Watch, Iraq, March 2003. Participated in Operation Iraqi Freedom, Iraq, March to April 2003, July 2004 to January 2005, January to July 2006, July 2007 to January 2008, and September 2008 to April 2009. Participated in Operation Enduring Freedom, Afghanistan, April to November 2010, and March to August 2012. Participated in Operation Inherent Resolve, October 2016 to April 2017, and participated in Operations Inherent Resolve and Freedom Sentinel, March to November 2018. The honors awarded to Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 2 include the Presidential Unit Citation Streamer, Navy Unit Commendation Streamer with 1 silver and 1 bronze star, Meritorious Unit Commendation Streamer with 1 silver star, Marine Corps Expeditionary Streamer with 2 bronze stars, National Defense Service Streamer with 3 bronze stars, Armed Forces Expeditionary Streamer with 1 bronze star, Southwest Asia Service Streamer with 2 bronze stars, Kosovo Campaign Streamer with 2 bronze stars, Afghanistan Campaign Streamer with 2 bronze stars, Iraq Campaign Streamer with 4 bronze stars, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Streamer, and the Global War on Terrorism Service Streamer. At this time, the commanding officer invites all former VMAQ-2 commanding officers and sergeants major to join him in the reviewing area. Ladies and gentlemen, the commander of troops for today's ceremony is Lieutenant Colonel Julian Flores. drum major for today's ceremony is Gunnery Sergeant Monica Preston. The platoon commander for 1st Platoon is Chief Officer 2, Daniel Hamilton. The Color Sergeant for VMAQ-2 is Sergeant Tyler Engel. The Platoon Commander for 2nd Platoon is Chief Officer 2, Christopher Lambert. And the Platoon Commander for 3rd Platoon is Chief Officer 2, Scott Heaster. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for honors to our national colors. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the commanding officer of Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 2, Lieutenant Colonel Andrew A. Rundle. Good afternoon. General Hedlund, General Heckel, Colonel Latt, Colonel Quinto, Colonel Ferry. Gentlemen, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us. General Daly, the Honorable James R. Sweeney, General Beidler, General Shuttler, General Moore, thank you for making the trip to be with us on this special occasion. It is a privilege to have you all with us here today. Current, former, and fellow commanders, sergeants major, seniors, enlisted advisors, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, welcome to the VMAQ-2 deactivation ceremony and EA-6B Sundown. The final Marines of VMAQ-2 are honored to have you here as we celebrate the heritage and legacy of this aircraft, our community, and its contributions. Before I introduce our keynote speaker, I would like to recognize and thank Colonel Ferry and the Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point team for the time and resources they have put forth to accommodate our deactivation events this week. The 2nd Marine Air Wing Band, your participation always adds a final touch to every ceremony that makes it a memorable event. So thank you for being here today. To our spouses and families of both current and former VMAQ-2 Marines, thank you for your support, your understanding, and for everything you have done for this unit, for your Marine or sailor. None of us could do what we do without your dedication to our service. Your strength and resolve through challenging times and extended deployments has proven this dedication time and time again. You have my utmost gratitude. Lastly, to the final VMAQ Marines and sailors, I could not be more proud of you and all you have accomplished over these past 2 years. Regardless of what was asked of you, you got it done. You remained focused in spite of the multitude of potential distractions associated with the deactivation and never once dropped your pack. No matter the challenge, you met them with our signature can-do easy attitude, a true testament to your collective and individual professionalism and dedication. It's been truly impressive. It has been a privilege being your commanding officer. Know that I am forever grateful for the opportunity I have had to serve with you in our squadron and on our final deployment, where you have ensured that this community's time in our Corps ends on the highest of notes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are fortunate to have with us today our keynote speaker, Lieutenant General William Beidler, United States Marine Corps retired. General Beidler's noteworthy service is detailed in the biography within your program,
but what makes his participation and comments here today significant, most significant, is his final assignment, which concluded his 37 years of active duty. In his last assignment as the commander, United States Marine Corps Forces Central Command, he was the operational commander for the final 4 VMAQ deployments, all to the Central Command region. Those 4 deployments included the last deployments of the remaining operational VMAQ squadrons, with VMAQ-4s in 2016, VMAQ-3s in 2017, and VMAQ-2s in 2016 and 2018. Throughout his career, he has seen the capabilities that this community has brought to the fight and the strategic relevance of its contributions even up to the very end of its service. He understands and appreciates the value of airborne electronic attack. It is because of his recent firsthand experience commanding our squadrons and the fact that he is not from a Q squadron that makes his perspective so meaningful and unique, and the reason I am honored he accepted my invitation to speak today. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant General Byler.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. What a glorious day here in North Carolina. I thank all of you for being here with us this afternoon, and welcome to this significant milestone in marine aviation. I'd like to welcome our distinguished guests all, and especially the Marines and sailors of VMAQ-2 and their spouses and families. Well, many of you right now may be asking, why in the world would a Hornet pilot get invited to an EA-6B Sundown? Well, I worked closely with Lieutenant Colonel Rundy over the past couple of years. I admire everything he's done with this squadron and everything about the community. And when he asked me to be here with you today, I eagerly accepted. I was very proud to be the Marine Commander of Marine Forces in the Middle East the past few years. This remarkable squadron made its final deployment, its final combat deployment in that region, and I was proud to be a part of that. So for Lieutenant Colonel Rundle, I thank you for this opportunity to share this day with you and all of the Marines of your squadron. You know, it's important to recognize here today that this is a milestone event in marine aviation, not just a squadron sundown, but the end of nearly 70 years of a prime function of marine aviation, airborne electronic warfare. This is a revered squadron with a legacy back to VMCJ-2 and VMC-2, where marine aviation electronic warfare got its start. And of course, this is the retirement of the longest serving tactical aircraft in Marine Corps history, the EA-6B Prowler. I want to begin with recognizing some of the great advocates of marine aviation, electronic warfare, and VMAQ-2 in particular. General Daly, a pillar in marine aviation with unmatched credibility, combat credibility that he used at the onset to lead marine aviation, electronic warfare, and reconnaissance as it got its start. Lieutenant General Shuttler, a visionary in marine aviation. General Shuttler was one of the NAVAIR Marines that made the EA-6A program in the 1960s work. And as the deputy to the Deputy Commandant for Aviation in 1974, he was responsible for striking the deal with the Navy that brought the Prowler program into our Corps, getting the new production ICAP aircraft along with it. Major General Moore. General Moore was the first VMAQ CO and also the first to fly the EA-6B Prowler. This year marking the 42nd anniversary of that famous fly-in to Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point. Triple nuts, 160432, proudly displayed out front. As I understand it, Lieutenant General Shuttler attended that fly-in. I think he graded that fly-in. And I'm so proud that he was with us here today, as he was as Fleet Marine Forces Lant at that time. You know, Major General Moore championed Marine electronic warfare in our major combat operations during Desert Shield and Desert Storm, ensuring that no Marine went into harm's way without Prowler support. That was his legacy. We're also joined here by Colonel Flash Witten. Where are you, Flash? There you are. He has probably forgotten more about Marine electronic warfare than any of us will ever know. He had the privilege of being in that first flight and was a member of the Fleet Project team. He's certainly one of the silent heroes of this community, as he's written about, but with Flash, perhaps not so silent. Thanks for being here. So I go back to the question I asked early on. What is a Phantom turned Hornet guy doing speaking at the stand down of the EA-6Bs in the Marine Corps? Well, probably due to the fact that I've had close contact with, profound respect for the mission, the community, through the full expanse of my 37 years in the Marine Corps. And what I thought I'd do is talk real briefly about how I saw this community over the course of my career. I began life in Beaufort, South Carolina as an F-4 pilot. It was the Cold War. We trained to defeat Soviet systems. Back then, it took many aircraft, many different types of aircraft, to do what we do today with just one or two types. We would always package those aircraft, large packages, to conduct missions and strike targets. 10 to 40 aircraft were not uncommon. And one thing that struck me early on was that the EA-6Bs and their aircrew were central to every single thing that we did. I was fortunate early as a lieutenant to attend the Navy's Electronic Warfare School at Corey Station in Pensacola. I learned a lot and gained an appreciation from that brief period down there. And so I knew as a lieutenant in the 1980s that you don't do much in marine aviation without a prowler. What also struck me was, as a new guy in the fleet, that the best pilots and the best flight officers coming out of the training command routinely got pulled into the prowler community. What also struck me was the best and brightest maintainers worked on prowlers. I found myself asking, who are these guys? They were smart, they were tactical, supremely confident, and damn fun to be around. But what most impressed me in all this, again, as a new Marine Corps officer and a fledgling aviator, was can-do easy. If Q2 said it, you could believe it, they could really do it, and they would do it. You know, lots of folks at that time in the 80s, we had new F-18s, some new AV-8Bs, lots of different types of aircraft. Most of them were fairly old. And a lot of people talked the talk. But Q2 walked the walk, and they delivered on every single thing they said they could do. Let me just give you one example of can-do easy. The deployment of VMAQ-2 Det Yankee on the USS America in 1986, a ship that I was on many years later. Now, a normal workup for a carrier deployment takes at least 6 months. With some Marine squadrons, it could take 8 or 9 months to get ready for a carrier deployment. Q2 was given exactly 5 weeks from notification that they needed to be on board the USS America to do something important for our great nation. And less than a couple weeks after they sorted out of Norfolk, they were involved in combat operations in the Mediterranean. With an accelerated carrier workup, hitting 3 boats in those 3 weeks, in those 5 weeks, 3 at-sea periods, on the Forrestal, the Kennedy, and the Roosevelt, They got on board the America, and again, a couple weeks after they set sail from Norfolk, they were flying off the coast of Libya. They flew over 100 hours in what we called Operation El Dorado Canyon, our strikes against Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. Only Can Do Easy could pull something like that off and meet the needs of the nation on short notice. Later in my career, when I became an instructor at MAWTS 1, I saw more of the same. I saw the intellect, the tactical skill, the determination that's all important in a discipline like electronic warfare. Our focus at MAWTS 1 at the time was how could we bring marine aviation to bear in a complex electronic warfare environment? How could we provide Marines close air support while being jammed, tracked by radar, and shot at? Thank God for VMAQ-2. VMAQ-2 was the heart of our Corps' EA-6B community. They were remarkably unconstrained in their thinking, their tactical thinking. They would not be hemmed in by doctrine. They would not be hemmed in by TAC manuals. And they made it a point to challenge their Navy counterparts at every turn. At every turn. They kind of did their own thing. They were willing to do things with EA-6B that others were not. They knew how to mitigate risk, but weren't afraid to take some. The junior officers in the Navy Prowler community thought it was pretty neat. They admired Q2's junior officers for their tactical courage. Like me, they often asked, who are those guys? All of this the Marine Corps knew well. And over time, the U.S. Air Force and the United States Army, they came to admire it also. And they came to ask for it. Marine Prowlers were different. To sum it up, when I was in Yuma as a MAWTS 1 instructor, the crews from VMAQ-2 touched everything we did and were behind almost every tactical breakthrough we achieved. They tirelessly worked against and found ways to beat Soviet-designed defense systems designed to defeat us, if not kill us. They were always thinking about how to defeat the enemy, always thinking. They wrote the book on how to counter integrated air defense systems. Bottom line, when I was at MAWTS 1, if Marine Aviation had a hard tactical question or problem they needed to solve, our first stop was the Prowler shop. Later in my career, I saw aircrew and maintainers across VMAQ continue to make the hard easy and the impossible can do easy. Making the most of improved capabilities brought to the EA-6B, mitigating some of the antiquated systems and aging airframes, they could always be counted on to adapt and improvise and overcome. Most recently, I watched this version of VMAQ-2, this squadron before us today, brilliantly led by Lieutenant Colonel Rundle and his Sergeant Major Studer, complete a brilliant combat deployment. 325 combat missions, 2,500 combat flight hours, with a 76% mission capability rating and a 63% full mission capability rating. I'll have you know that those percentages are higher than in my own community, the F-18. Higher than our standard. The Jesters supported some of the most complex operations I've ever seen, that, to be honest with you, most Americans don't know much about. Routinely flying 8+ hour combat missions with multiple tanking, supporting B-1 cruise missile airstrikes, operating in a very dense, Russian-supported, high-end, double-digit, triple-digit integrated air defense system, in the presence of Russian fighters as sophisticated, if not more sophisticated, than my own F-18. Operations in and around Syria were not just counterinsurgency and a small war, I'm here to tell you. Let me close by saying I'm honored to be here with you today. I'm truly honored. I wish all of you could see, as I did, how well this squadron was led, how well this squadron performed on its final deployment. Stifling ISIS communications, messing with ISIS systems, killing ISIS bomb emplacers, punishing those that use chemical weapons in Syria, while doing much the same against the Taliban at the same time 1,700 miles away, and protecting our Marines on the ground throughout the entire region. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, Can Do Easy made me proud. They made all of us proud. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and Semper Fidelis.
Marine Corps Bulletin 5400. The Commandant of the Marine Corps directs the deactivation Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 2, Marine Aircraft Group 14, 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing, Marine Corps Air Station, Cherry Point, North Carolina. This deactivation is effective 31 May 2019. all the Marines of Marine Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron to thank you